Did you know that Allied ships in World War II had energy shields capable of protecting them from naval mines? It sounds a bit grandiose, but it was actually a pretty simple mechanism that, without contact, could make the ship disappear. For naval mines and similar devices, of course, without destroying them or even having to detect them. In the previous video, we talked about how the Germans managed to destroy mines with a very particular airplane. Well, today we'll look at a very similar concept, but much more cutting-edge and large-scale, which managed to fully protect ships from those troublesome underwater mines. And this was none other than degaussing, which was a system that, with simple electricity, made ships invisible to any magnetic device. Today we'll talk about the first stealth technologies for ships, 50 years before this even came about. So, well, you'd better get comfortable and welcome to Guns Club. In the last video, we also saw how British mines were a problem for the U-boats. The same thing happened with Allied ships, and German mines were everywhere, especially in vital landing areas. The most dangerous of all was the Luftminen series, or Luftminen, which were airdropped and very diverse. They had 500 to 1,000 kilograms of explosives and could easily destroy any hull. A blast radius of 10 meters around them during 1939 and 1940 caused massive casualties to the British Royal Navy. We can see this expressed in this American document from 1953. In September 1939, the Germans began laying magnetic mines along the shipping routes off the east coast of England. In 3 months, 44 ships lay at the bottom of the channel, victims of a weapon for which there was no defense. The effect of the mines was immediate, and it was necessary to create a countermeasure to protect the ships. Similar to what happened with the Germans and the Ju-52 MS development, the anti-mine war for the British began when they captured an enemy mine intact, an event that we can also see described in the previously mentioned document. During the night of November 22, 1939, mines were seen falling by parachute in the Thames estuary off Shoebury Nest. Fortunately, one was spotted in an exposed spot during low tide. Thanks to a combination of good management, boldness, and luck, the magnetic mine was brought ashore on November the 23, then secured and studied in detail. The captured mine. It really wasn't a big deal. It was about as advanced as the British mines. However, it was impossible for Germany to have reached the same technological level in 5 years that the English achieved in 25. This indicated that in 1923, as soon as the occupation ended, Germany continued developing mines, breaking the Treaty of Versailles as soon as they could by researching the mine. Within days, British scientists found a way to make ships invisible to German mines. As we saw in the previous video, magnetic mines generally only detected the disturbance of the magnetic field created by the ship in relation to the Earth's magnetic field, which by induction created a small electric current that triggered the mine's fuse. Well, the scientists' plan was to cover the entire hull of the ship with wiring in the form of a coil. When a strong electric current was passed through, the ship generated a magnetic field like an electromagnet, creating 2 possible defenses, depending on the needs of the ship. First, the ship could generate a huge magnetic field, larger than normal, causing the mines to explode long before they even got close to the ship. The second was even more interesting. By flowing a specific amount of energy, it was possible to neutralize the disturbance in the magnetic field, making the mines simply not detect the ship. With an effectiveness of over 90, this system was totally perfect after its development. In the summer of 1942, 1,000 ships carrying logistics to support the conflict began to use degaussing too. 438,400 meters of cable were needed for this titanic task. But was it worth it? Degaussing caused the number of mine-related casualties to plummet, making it relatively safe to travel in the Atlantic, except for the Subo, of course. The drop in mine effectiveness quickly led the Germans to adopt countermeasures. The Germans created another type of mine with a different detection method, conventional mines. Or now, at this point called red mines, they detected positive changes in the magnetic field, but the new blue mines detected negative changes. That is, when the Degaussing system counteracted the ship's magnetic disturbance and went just a little over, the blue mine was able to detect this overcompensation. Therefore, the Degaussing had to operate perfectly without going over or falling short. For that, then, the magnetic field of each ship had to be measured individually, a process that could be done with a detector on the ship. Or, more commonly, the ship could be passed through meters at a constant speed, where the engineers could determine the ship's magnetic field, and likewise also know how much energy needed to flow through the cables. These latter procedures greatly reduced the use of degaussing, since it had to be done periodically on each ship. All of this was because the magnetism of the ships changed with use, but since it was the only reliable countermeasure for mines up to that point, it continued to be used until the end of the war. Despite its complexity, the small change in casualties made the Germans start desperately implementing more complex mines, such as acoustic magnetic ones. The Einheis Mine F was the first mine of this kind. Now German mines were guided not only by the magnetic criterion, but also by the acoustic one. And this could have been checkmate for the system, but in fact, it was quite the opposite. Degaussing still partially protected the ships, since the activation of the new German mines depended on both factors, magnetic as well as acoustic, not just magnetic. And furthermore, it forced the Germans to create mines that were more expensive to manufacture, causing the number of mines deployed to be greatly reduced. Degaussing was so effective that there wasn't a single Allied ship without one of them, as we can see. We can see in this chart from the United States Navy, where we can see that by 1945, more than 12,000 ships carried or had carried degaussing systems. Calibrating it became increasingly expensive as the number of Allied ships grew, which led to the development of more advanced and efficient systems. One particular technology is still used to this day, alongside degaussing, but it's a topic that's too interesting to just mention, so we'll leave it for the next video. Did you know that most torpedoes from all nations have the same caliber, 533 millimeters? Well, in this video you'll find out why. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.